like we need to talk about who's going to be hurler of the year, and it's early days and all of that. And I asked Johnny Kelly actually on Tipcast about it as well, and he was like, there's big games to come, and often it is the All Ireland semi-final and final that decide it. But Aaron Gillane is probably the favourite. Tony Kelly, by dint of the hat trick, has vaulted himself in there. Conor Whelan won 6 against Kilkenny and then 1-4 against Tipperary. He's right in there. Like, if Limerick get beaten by Galway, there is a fair chance that Conor Whelan, irrespective of how the final goes, that he'll be hurler of the year, because he'll have to be on fire to beat Limerick, surely.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, yeah. It's funny, like, it's mad to think that Gillane is 9-4 favourite essentially at the moment, and he wasn't on the Limerick squad by all accounts earlier on the year, and his performances are getting better and better, you'd have to say. Probably had a quiet final quarter, the Munster final, but he'd most of his work done by then. Dermot Byrne's, Andrew Sullivan actually was on to me there just saying that Dermot Byrne's a big price at 16s, even though he won it last year. I think he's 2 Man of the Match awards already from the Munster Championship, doesn't he? Tip and Cork, I think. Now, he was not himself in the Munster final. He definitely would be in the mix. It's not beyond. I thought Nicky Quaid was outstanding in the Munster final. Now, I thought he literally nearly had the perfect performance. He's 50s for hurler, like a massive, massive outsider. But as you say, if Limerick don't win, do you know who I think is a decent shout? Someone like Hugh Lawler at around 25s or something like that, who's probably better than he's ever been. And if they play Limerick in the All-Ireland final and he shuts down Gillane, somewhat like what he did in last year's final, I think he'd have a fair shout. But there's a lot of big contenders there. I know Gillane is favourite and Kelly's close by, but you couldn't confidently call who it's going to be. You couldn't confidently call the county it's going to be from.
No, because like it's up in the air. I mean, we have to see what teams are lined out on the day. Like, you've gone through it already, some of those injury issues for Kilkenny. Mikey Butler, Mossy Keoghan. Will Adrian Mullen be right? How much training will he have done, even if his shattered thumb does come right? On the Limerick side, no Finn, no Declan Hannon. Will Hannon be available for the final if Limerick win that semi-final? Conor Cleary for Clare, John Conlon, David McInerney, Aidan McCarthy. And I do stick by this. I would put Aidan McCarthy back in the half-back line if John Conlon is available.
You rubbished that notion a couple of weeks ago when I suggested it.
Well, look, I stand by it now. No, but do you know what? What makes it easier to stand by it is because the Clare forward line operated so well without him.
They have a surplus of forwards. And plus, if David McInerney is fit, will he be, 100% fit? Do they need a new influx of energy back there and a bit more experience? The only problem is, I'd say, with Aidan McCarthy, and I don't know if he was taken off injured in the Munster final or he was taken off because he, maybe was out of form. But you're also putting someone back into the half-back line that outside of what we say in the Tipperary game, he hasn't had a brilliant championship so far, and he's had a few niggles as well. That would be a little bit of a worry.
Cathal Mannion actually is 20-1 as well, and after A. Sully 180 saying throw him into the mix as well if Galway beat Limerick because he'll have to be on song for Galway to win. It's true. I don't think he was fully right for the Leinster final, and he didn't overly stand out in that game. Actually, remember last year when he sort of played that bit of a sweeper role at the start of the game against Limerick, and they somehow managed to play these crossfield balls that evaded him, went into Gillane, and he fired them over the bar. They were unbelievable scores, but he was sort of bypassed. So Galway pushed up after that.
Limerick will not make a hero of Cathal Mannion next weekend, and that is one thing for sure, because Tip did make a hero of him last weekend. There's no point in saying any different. And as Kieran said, there seemed to be a lot of Tip guys that were uncomfortable with giving that ball that takes him out of it, with giving that 50-yard ball to hand to the half forward or to a midfielder. A lot of lads were just driving a 100-yard ball down on top of him. I couldn't get over what I was seeing, but honest with you, and I only got to read basically the transcript of Cattle's interview after. He was mystified by it as well, because he basically said that players were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. And that's something they'll have to iron out next year.
I like that he didn't spoof and try and act like, have, I suppose, the tone of his interview about how, we were close and on another day. It was only 2
No, he's
points.
not like that. In fairness, he's not like that at all. He basically said after the Waterford game, they were beaten by 6, was it? He said, this was an almighty hammer. We were hammered out here. He doesn't, in fairness, he definitely doesn't sugarcoat it. Unlike other managers who will talk about the amount of wides or a refereeing decision, or we had 21 shots to 5 or something like that. He talks in facts, to be fair to him.
Okay, so let's pick it now. Who's going to be your hurler of the year?
Just going to go down through here. Yeah, no, just going to go down through it here and pick one. Like, there's a question in there from Detox 101. He says, in terms of Nicky Quaid getting hurler of the year, can I ask you as journalists, what barriers does he have to go through that other players may not to get hurler of the year and him a goalkeeper? Well, this year, he's more likely to me to get hurler of the year above any other year because he's been called into action a lot more. And that's the basic facts of a lot of people want to see the keeper making loads of saves or been having to make loads of saves. And that maybe would say some of the reasons why, you know, James McGarry never got an all-star back in the day, because he was never called into action. So I think the fact that he's had to do a lot more in games would definitely play into that. And it would also play into, if we were to get it, there would be less outstanding candidates out the pitch. I put it that way. And if just look at it from a Limerick point of view, Limerick are favourites to win the All-Ireland, and they only have the 4th favourite to win hurler of the year. So if Limerick were to win the All-Ireland and Tom Morrissey stays playing well and Barry Nash stays playing well and Dimmer Burns stays playing well, but Nash keeps playing at that really high level, I think he would have a fair chance of getting it, to be honest with you, even though it would take a big departure for a goalkeeper to get it.
Yeah, Aaron Gillane, actually, like, to me, I think Aaron Gillane...
Sorry, Gillane. Yeah, Gillane, of course, is the favourite, yeah.
Yeah, he is the favourite. I'd probably put him down for, like, I think of all the teams left, yeah, I'd narrow it down to probably TJ Reid and Aaron Gillane getting it, because if Kilkenny, I think Kilkenny have a very good chance of winning their semi-final with the injuries to Clare. Like, will Clare put Shane Amori back in the full back line, for example, or will they put Paul Flanagan back in there? And, you know, they're very good on the ground, but against, you know, some of the best in the air, you know, there might be more hassle there. Maybe David McInerney might go back there.
Really looking forward to going through the matchups for next week. It's going to be fascinating.
But if I was to put my neck in the block, I'd say Aaron Gillane would probably win hurler.
If you're to put your neck in the block, you go for the 9-4 favourite. Bravo. Bravo, my friend. Right.